ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजः पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। We are in the final chapter of Yuddha Kanda, chapter 128. This chapter has 125 verses. We will break that into or split that into two. The first 106 verses talk about Sri Ramachandra gaining his kingdom back and his Pattabhishekam or his coronation as the emperor, and a couple of verses that talk about as soon as he became king, what was the outcome? How did people feel in Ramarajya? The second one, from 107 onwards, are what we call Phalastuti, blessings from Valmiki upon his audience, upon every human being in every part of the world, perhaps a blessing to every living being, regardless, in creation. So we will do that part two another time. Now, to cover 107 verses, 106 some verses, is not easy because it is packed with stuff. So let's see how far we get. And depending on that, we will know how we are doing. We seek the blessings of Sri Bharata, who has been unwillingly the king on behalf of Sri Ramachandra, although we know that Paduka Devi is the one that ruled the kingdom for all the 14 years, and Bharata just carried out the instructions of the Paduka or under the guidance of Paduka's dominion over Ayodhya. Now, Sri Ramachandra has arrived in Nandigrama. Actually, has also arrived into Ayodhya with Bharata. Sri Ramachandra is seated next to Vasishtha Muni. At this time, Bharata, who's been eagerly waiting for 14 years to see his brother and the rightful king of Ayodhya, comes with his hands to his head, bows down to Sri Ramachandra there, and with his hands on his head this way, speaks to him. And he says, Pujita Mamaka Mata, Dattam Rajyam Idam Mama, Tad Dadami Punastubhyam Yatha Tvam Adada Mama. My mother has been thoroughly and rightfully worshipped by you. And this kingdom, how did Sri Rama worship or honor Kaikeyi? By following her words that he should go to the forest. Although Ramachandra is famous in creation that he fulfilled the promise or the words of his father. Now, generally people say the words is that the father said to Rama to go to the forest. Actually, if you remember Ayodhya Kanda, he never spoke. In fact, he spoke the opposite to Sri Rama. Don't go. In fact, Dasharatha even said, arrest me. And that's okay, because the kingdom needs to come to you rightfully. Even if you reject me, that would be okay. But don't listen to this piteous woman. But it was her words to Ramachandra, and more importantly, his promise to Kaikeyi. That is what Ramachandra fulfilled. So here is Bharata saying, Pujita Mamika Mata. You have honored my mother. Dattam Rajyamidam Mama. And this kingdom was given as if it's mine. Mama. Now, in Sanskrit, there are these what are called vibhaktis that talk about how a noun gets conjugated. So, mama here is sixth shashti, which is of me or mine, as if it's mine. And then he says, tad dadami punaha, then I'm giving back to you, tubhyam, punah tubhyam, unto you, yatha tvam adadamama, just the way you gave to me. Again, he's using the word mama for himself, tubhyam for Sri Rama. So the Vaishnava Acharyas explained to us that there is a difference. It is not just I gave you the kingdom, you're giving it to me. There is a problem in it. If Bharata did not use the Chaturthi Vibhakti, which is Tubhyam, unto you, then it would mean you gave me the kingdom, it was mine, and now I'm giving it to you, as if it is yours. That is an exchange between two people. But by using Tubhyam, they say it is not an exchange of that way. It is an exchange with a very clear understanding from the beginning that the kingdom needs to come back to Sri Rama. And the example they gave is, they differentiated this way. I give somebody something, and some days later, whether they like it or not or something, they return it back to me. That's a different exchange from when I give my clothes to the laundromat or I give it to a washerman or a washerwoman. Even in the act of giving my clothes to the washerwoman, it is very clear that the washerwoman needs to return the clothes back. The washerman or woman cannot come back in the evening and said, I decided it will be right for me to give these clothes to you. It is not an equal exchange. There is always a possession from the beginning. Even when the clothes are in the hands of the washerman, it is very clear the clothes belong to me. So he's saying to him, unto you, because you are the rightful owner. And therefore, when performing yajna, we say Krishnaya Namaha, Idam Namama. There also it is two vibhaktis, Krishnaya, unto Krishna, Namama. It's not mine. It is not mine. So he's saying, as if the kingdom you gave me, as if it were mine, it is not mine, Tubhyam, it is unto you. Just one word, but it has such deep, packed meaning as who the rightful owner is. And then he says, Sri Ramachandra, Dhuram ekakina nyastam, Vrishabhena baliyasa, Kishoravad guru bharam, na vodum utsahe, na vodum aham utsahe, vodum to carry. Na utsahe, I don't have the strength or the inspiration to carry Guru Bharam, this very heavy weight or burden of the kingdom. My shoulders are not made for it. Your shoulders are made for it. You are rightfully, the kingdom will feel better when it is on your shoulders. And he gives comparisons. Vrishabhena baliyasa. You are like the powerful ox that his full muscles are built, the hump is strong. As far as I'm concerned, Kishoravad. I'm like a small child in front of you, or or a weak young ox that doesn't have the strength to carry. One may say, you're also a Kshatriya. So he's making similarity. And we have heard all through our Krishna consciousness, we have oneness in quality and distinction in quantity. We have the same qualities as Krishna has, same, but different in quantity, different in the variety of them. So here he's saying, I'm also maybe an ox, but Kishoravad, I'm young. My shoulders are very tender. I cannot carry the burden of a kingdom like Ayodhya that the great, great Ikshvaku lineage has been carrying all this while for millions of years and generations. It's not for me, it is for you. So when it comes to the capacity to manage a kingdom, there is distinction. I'm very young, you're very matured and strong. So here is talking of Balam. Next. Varivegena mahata bhinna seturivaksharan durbandham idam durbandham nam idam durbandhanam idam manye raja chidram asamvrutam. When there is a gush of water in a river, it can even break a dam. So I believe we are in the place where the dam, called the rulership, is at risk and it is going to break. Even a dam, so if I'm a dam, I cannot maintain the urges, the requirements of ruling a kingdom. Now he's going to speak about the distinction between him and Rama in another way. One was an ox. Now the ox in terms of strength or ability to bear. Next, Gatim khara ivashvasya hamsa eva cha vayasah nanve tumutsahe veera tava margamarindama. So he's addressing Sri Ramachandra as Veera, oh hero, powerful Sri Ramachandra. Arindamam, you are the person who can completely vanquish all of your enemies. Because when it comes to speed of thinking through, finding solutions, and thinking long term, your speed is that like of a horse. My speed is like that of a donkey. Gatim khara iva ashwasya. You are the ashwa, I am the khara. When it comes to the purity that is required to manage a kingdom, hamsa eva, you are like the hamsa, the very, very elevated, pure person who can distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, distinguish between what is appropriate and not appropriate. Very quickly you can decipher. As far as I am concerned, vayasaha, I am a crow. How can a crow distinguish? It only looks for dirty things. Sri Ramachandra, I would like that the entire world sees you back on your throne, dazzling, you dazzling like the sun at midday, right in the 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, where I live, 12 o'clock is not exactly when the sun shines at its peak because of where we are. But at 12 o'clock, midday sun is bright, scorching, brilliant. The world should see you that way. They should see your Abhisheka. They should see your being coronated as the king. I desire, I wish and pray that you sleep in the most royal comforts and you are awoken in the morning by the sound of sweet musical instruments, the tinkling of ornaments strung with tiny bells worn around the waists of all the girls who are attendants as they walk through the palace halls. May you enjoy the rulership of Ayodhya. And how long? He says, as long as the planets move around the sun and as long as the earth exists. Wow, what an outpouring of his heart to Sri Ramachandra. Hearing this, Bharatasya vachah shrutva Ramam Parapuranjayah, one who can win the kingdom of someone else as well. Tatha iti. He said, let it be so. Pratijagraha Nishasadane Shubhe. And then sat down on a very charming seat. Now he is accepting the rulership of Ayodhya. Immediately, as soon as this happened, Shatrughna invited the best of the barbers in Ayodhya, whose hands were very, very expert, soft-handed. So when they are shaving the head of Sri Rama, there should not be any nicks, any cuts. And they were very nimble. It doesn't mean that they have to take from morning till evening. They're quick, but expert at it. And immediately not one, but multiple barbers surrounded Sri Ramachandra. And Ramachandra's entire matted locks of hair for 14 years that was pasted with banyan sap, so it had become hard and crusty, was completely shaved. Imagine Ramachandra with so much hair on his head, put in matted locks. Some may say possibly with beard and mustache. Even that way, he was so handsome looking that the sages of Dandakaranya became amorously attracted to him. Can we imagine? Possibly not, but can we imagine the face of Sri Rama with clean shaven shikha and no obstruction to see his full moon-like face? Bharata very quickly first took a bath, and then Lakshmana. So Lakshmana's hair also, that's what is understood, that his head's also been shaved. Lakshmana also took a bath. Sugriva also took a bath. Vibhishana, everybody. And now Sri Ramachandra, with all of his matted hair disentangled, took a bath and came out with the most exquisite, wonderful looking garlands around him, and his body dabbed in sandal paste and various other perfumed augments on him, and wearing beautiful yellow silken cloth, pitambaram. And when he stood there, he was dazzling. Everybody was gazing at Sri Rama. This Shatrughna very quickly asked for all the royal jewelers to come and decorate Rama Lakshmana with the best of jewelry. All the widows of Dasharatha, Kaushalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, they in turn decorated Sita Devi in the best of silken cloth, best of jewelry. From head to toe, she was decorated with jewels. Generally, when we say decorated with jewels, our imagination may go to just a few jewelry, but on the head, all varieties of jewelry, chudamani, necklaces, earrings, keyura, bangles, rings, waistbands, anklets, toe rings, all dazzling. And she says, so even Valmiki, when he talks of Rama Lakshmana, he says, Shriya Jwalam, like they were glowing in effulgence. But when it comes to Sita Devi, because we're all biased towards her, Atmaneva, they themselves decorated Sita Devi, Chakrum, Chakrum Manoharam. The way they dressed her, Manoharam, it was completely captivating. Then, as if that were not enough, Kausalya went to all the queens of the monkeys. Tato Vanarapatninam Sarvasam Eva, of all the Vanara queens, so Tara, uh, and others. She went to all the wives of the Vanaras and personally decorated them. And it says, without exception, Kausalya Prahashta Putravatsala. Out of the affection for her son, she decorated all of the Vanara queens. Now, one may think, why is she decorating them who look like monkeys? They were all in human form. We will hear how, when it comes to Sugriva and Hanuman, that they were in human form, which means all of them are standing there in human forms. Now, Shatrughna got a chariot. It was yoked with the best of horses. And Sumantra is now the charioteer. He has been waiting for 14 years to be the chariot driver again. He is the one who drove Sri Ramachandra's chariot out of Ayodhya. And now he is the one who's riding or driving the chariot of Sri Rama again. And Sumantra, upon Shatrughna's order, brought the chariot before him. It was a fantastic, celestial looking chariot that had the brightness of fire and the sun. Agnya Arka, Agnya Arka, like Agni and Arka. Divyam, celestial, effulgent, transcendental looking. Drashtva Ratham Stitam, Aruroha Mahabahu Ramaha Parapuranjaya. Aruroha, he got up onto the chariot and he looked like he can conquer the entire world. Sugrivo Hanumanschaiva Mahendra Sadrusha Dyutihi. Sugriva and Hanuman both were looking mighty like Indra himself. And they were also Snato, which means they took their bath, Divya Nibhair Vastrair, and they were wearing wonderful clothes, very beautifully decorated themselves. Shubha, Shubha Kundalai, beautiful earrings, jewelry, clothing, adorned with all sorts of jewels and brilliant earrings. The consorts of Sugriva and herself Sita, they eagerly started beholding and moving towards the city of Ayodhya, placing Vasishta ahead of the entire retinue. So Vasishta, behind him is Sri Rama, then there's Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, of course with Rama is Sita Devi, and all of the retinue, they are entering into Ayodhya. And all the ministers of King Dasharatha, who previously had prepared everything for coronating Sri Rama, have redone it all again under the direction of Bharata. They were all happy to see Sri Rama. These great ministers, Ashoka, Vijaya, Siddhartha, they were all waiting to receive Sri Ramachandra. And they told their servants, the ones who put everything together, that start making sure that the entire Ayodhya city has great Brahmanas who are loudly uttering benedicting prayers without any hesitation. And whatever is required for the throne of Ayodhya to be consecrated such that Sri Ramachandra can sit on it. So Vasishta Muni very quickly went ahead to go and receive Sri Ramachandra. Although he is leading it, now he has to turn around and receive Sri Ramachandra. Ramachandra, taking his seat on the chariot, looked like Indra along with Sachi Devi as they are entering Ayodhya. Now, Sumantra, although is the chariot driver, Bharata, who himself is the prince, said, no, my rightful service is to be Ramachandra's charioteer. So Bharata took up the reins of the horses. So they're all royal princes, but they all consider themselves servants. Shatrughna took the white umbrella and held it above Ramachandra's head. And Lakshmana took his chamara. and was whisking the air around Sri Rama so he feels cool. Now, on the other side of Lakshmana, so whenever you see Pattabhisheka pictures, on that side of Lakshmana was Vibhishana, the head of the Rakshasas. He himself also took up a chamara and was fanning Sri Rama. Now, they are all great kings and royal princesses. But when it comes to Sri Rama, they all are servants. They consider themselves menial servants. In the sky, all the rishis had gathered and they were chanting Vedic mantras and singing, and in different groups, they were reciting Vedic mantras and were praising Sri Ramachandra as his retinue on the chariot was following into Ayodhya. Sugriva, the jewel among the monkeys, was riding behind Sri Ramachandra on that elephant called Shatrunjaya. Shatrunjaya is that elephant who can kill all enemies or defeat any enemy. It's the Shatrunjaya on whom the Padukas would travel. So it's the royal elephant. Only the king travels on Shatrunjaya. Sri Ramachandra is such a friend that out of gratitude for Sugriva, for all that Sugriva has done for Sri Ramachandra, if Sita was found, it is because of Sugriva's help. Ramachandra is very, very grateful, gave Sugriva the royal elephant to travel on, the same elephant in which Padukas travel. And all of them here says, Nava Naga Sahasrani Yayursthaya Vanaraha Manusham Vigraha Kritva. They all were in human forms. And the different monkeys in human forms rode on 9,000 elephants. Everywhere. We know in festivals when you blow the conch, it has a reverberating sound. What do you do when you hear 3, 5, 10 conches? But here, Shankha Shabdar Pranadaischa, hundreds of conches were blowing. Dundubinam, Cha, Niswanai, everything was shaking, the loud playing of drums and conches. Prayau, Purusha Vyagrastam, Ramachandra, the jewel or the tiger among human beings. Purim, Harmya Milanim. And as he was walking through the streets of Ayodhya, there were all these rows of houses and palaces. Now, the people of Ayodhya saw the chariot of Sri Ramachandra coming and came in parties to go see him. They wanted to meet Sri Ramachandra after so many years. Now they're seeing that same Rama that they were waiting, and their hearts were completely parched of that wonderful thirst of the glance of Sri Rama, having to glance on him as well. One by one, they were all felicitating him. They were all running after him. And they're seeing Sri Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, surrounded by his ministers, Brahmanas, everyone, Ramachandra shining brightly, beautifully, like the moon in the midst of the galaxy of stars. Surrounded by musicians, trumpets, kartals. People were holding another type of instrument called swastikas and singing different songs. It was a joyful mega kirtan party. And people had decorated the streets with pots of unbroken grains and rice. The pots were painted by turmeric. Everything looked golden. Cows, virgin girls, brahmanas, men were carrying baskets of sweets, and they were walking ahead of Sri Ramachandra. These are all ways in which great guests, what to speak of royalty, are received. Sri Rama spoke to his counselors. So all the 8 great counselors of Dasharatha, Ramachandra, when he met them, he did not say how great he was killing Ravana. He talked about Sugriva, Hanuman, and all the other Vanaras and their achievements and how they have helped him gain his kingdom back. The citizens of Ayodhya were so happy to see everybody back there. So now they've inside Ayodhya near the palace, the citizens, they had raised flags and all different varieties of decorations on the ceilings of the terraces of their buildings because they're waiting for Rama to sit on the throne of Ayodhya. Now, gone into the palace of Dasharatha, Sri Ramachandra greeted Kausalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi. No any negativity towards Kaikeyi at all. Then Sri Rama turned to Bharata and spoke something that Valmiki says in a sweet language that was pregnant, was full of meaning. Okay, the meaning is it is a display of Ramachandra's heart for anyone who does even the slightest of service. What to speak of the service Sugriva had done. So he says, Tacha mad bhavanam sreshtham, the best of my houses, my residences, that is my personal quarters. That one, please give it to Sugriva. He can use it however he likes. And this palace is the most exquisite palace studded with gems, pearls, cat's eyes, including an Ashoka grove. Now, they all have Ashoka gardens. So it means that the Ashoka garden is a unique garden that kings have where they enter to remove all sorts of distresses in their minds. तस्य तद्वचनं श्रुत्वा भरतः सत्यविक्रमः हस्ते गृहीत्वा सुग्रीवं प्रविवेश तमालयम्. When Ramachandra gave that order, Bharata personally held Sugriva's hand and escorted him into Ramachandra's palace. Now, there were oil lamps everywhere with covers to it, and Shatrughna and all of his servants very quickly placed these lamps everywhere for Sugriva. Then Bharata said to Sugriva, "Oh, Sugriva, please give an order to your followers to bring sea water from everywhere so that when Ramachandra sits on the throne, we can pour this water from the oceans upon him." Sugriva uh, turned to four of his mighty Vanaras, chiefs, and gave them each a golden pot, and each pot was studded with jewels of all varieties, and said, quickly go toward to all directions of the world and bring the waters from all the seas and oceans, chatusagara, oceans particularly. There's distinction apparently between sea and ocean. They asked for it from the ocean, and these monkeys, who themselves look like mighty elephants, just sprang up in the air like fast, swift eagles and went everywhere. Who are these great persons? Jambavan, Hanuman, Gavaya, and Rishabha. They are the four Vanaras who jumped in the four oceans and brought these pails full of water. Then another 500 monkeys brought water from 500 rivers from different parts of the country in different pails. Jambavan, who was leading an excellent army, uh, brought pots full of jewels, jewels, and water from the Eastern Ocean. Rishabha brought water from the southern. Gavaya, who himself was as strong as Vayu, brought a large pot that was encrusted with jewels from the Western Ocean. And Hanuman was as fast as Garuda went to the northern ocean, the Arctic Ocean. And when Shatrughna saw all this water that had come and was placed at the disposal of sage Vasishta, Shatrughna was very, very happy. Now, accompanied by all the Brahmanas, led by sage Vasishta, they were all mature through age, made Sri Ramachandra along with Sita Devi sit on a seat made with precious stones. That's the throne of Ayodhya. And all the great Brahmanas and advisors surrounded them, like Vasishtha, Vamadeva, Jabali, Kashyapa. This Kashyapa means he's a descendant of the original Kashyapa. He's called Kashyapa. Katyayana, Suyagnya. Suyagnya is the son of Vasishtha. He's the main priest of Kausalya also. Gautama, Vijaya, all of them started pouring this fragrant waters uh, that was brought from all places. They were made with herbs, with jewels, with fragrances, perfumes, scents, and were pouring on Sri Rama as Ramachandra was becoming the king. So first, the Brahmanas poured all waters on Sri Rama and coronating him. Then next were 16 virgin girls, younger ones. They came and poured all the waters on Sri Rama and Sita. Then ministers came. Then the warriors came and all the merchants came. The sages were asked that Sri Ramachandra be sprinkled with the saps of all medicinal herbs. Who did that? All the four Dikpalaka: Indra, Varuna, Yama, and Kubera. And all the different other guardians of the directions and devatas who were standing up in the sky in the air, they were also assembled and they were offering Abhishek to Sri Ramachandra. Then that moment of truth, Vasishta Muni carrying that crown of Ikshvaku dynasty that was crafted by Lord Brahma himself and was first placed on the head of Manu, called Vaivasvata Manu. That dazzling crown was placed on Sri Ramachandra's head by Vasishta, as Ramachandra is sitting on the throne as the emperor of Ayodhya, adorned with every square inch of his body with jewels and diamonds and all sorts of jewels and decorations. That is, even my language is feeling so limited into expressing what it is like. Now, as all of this is going on, Shatrughna is holding the white umbrella and Sugriva with a white chamara fan, Vibhishana holding another fan as white as the moon. Then, prompted by Indra, now all the devatas have come to give gifts to Sri Rama. Now, mere human being doesn't get gifts like this. This is Sri Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, now sitting on the throne of Ayodhya. So, upon Lord Indra's request, Vayu came and gave to Sri Ramachandra a golden garland consisting of 100 lotuses, each lotus made of gold, and casting a splendor with its body, glowing. Then Indra asked Vayu to give even more gifts. So he was given a pearl necklace, which was interspersed with varieties of other gems. So there were diamonds and rubies between the strings of pearls. Gandharvas who were singing beautifully along with Apsaras dancing on that occasion. Then Bhudevi, earth, covered with all sorts of crops and trees that bore fruits, and flowers were emitting from every place, this fragrance of flowers, the honey from the flowers all around Ayodhya as Sri Ramachandra was being coronated the king. Now, we're going to connect to a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but here the quantities that you see. Sri Rama gave to the Brahmanas first 100,000 horses and cows that had recently given birth to calves, with 100 bulls as well. Now, one may question, Brahmanas by themselves don't have money because they live simply, they live on charity. What are Brahmanas going to do with 100,000 horses and cows, plus calves, plus 100 bulls? One may say that kind of gift is a burden. My gosh. What it means is these gifts are such that they have all the facilities along with them to take care of the cows and horses. It means that every cow was decorated with golden horns, golden necklaces, grains, grass, fields, everything, so that the Brahmanas are not stressed in taking care of. Otherwise, they'll say, what kind of gift is this? If Sri Ramachandra appeared in front of us and said, I'm very happy with you, here are 100,000 cows. What am I going to do with those cows? But it means the gift has with all the facilities to take care of those cows and bulls and calves. Then later, Sri Ramachandra gave 30 crores of gold coins. 300 million, 30 million, 300 million. My conversion's not right now, but 30 crores of gold coins and the variety of jewels and clothes to all the Brahmanas. Then Sri Rama gave Sugriva a heavenly garland consisting of gold and gems and shining like the sun itself. Ramachandra gave to Sugriva. Ramachandra was full of love, gifted Angada a lovely pair of armlets, because Angada also means that you wear on the arm, made with cat's eye gems and encrusted with diamonds. Then Sri Rama gave Sita Devi, his consort, a pearl necklace. That, remember, that Vayu gave to to Sri Ramachandra. That necklace Sri Ramachandra gave to Sita. He put it around her neck. And it was so beautiful that although she was decorated with a variety of jewels, this necklace of pearls somehow surpassed all the other jewels that she was wearing. Then, looking at all the wonderful services that Hanuman had done for her, when she looked at this necklace that Ramachandra put on her neck, she turned towards Sri Ramachandra and speaking with her eyes. Then Ramachandra she looked at the necklace, she looked at Sri Rama, and Ramachandra, just by that gesture, understood and told her, Sita, with all the joy in your heart, you can give this to someone with whom you are very, very pleased. Generally, when the husband gives the wife something, especially he's the king and she's the queen, not just wife and husband, she should keep it. But as soon as she saw it, the first thought she had is that this should be for someone else, that she would like to give. So Ramachandra understood and said, yes, yes, please, you can give to anyone. Because he understood who she would like to give that. So he gives a clue to someone with whom you are very pleased. So Sita Devi walked towards Hanuman and gave it to him. This beautiful, wonderful necklace. And I'm going to read the Sanskrit of it here, because Hanuman's glory is spoken right in the middle of Sri Ramachandra's glory here. Avaikshat harin sarvan bhartaram cha muhur muhur. Avaikshat harin sarvan. So she's looking at all the Vanaras, and Bhartaram cha muhurmuhu. And she's looking at Ramachandra again and again. Tam ingityagyah. Looking at her eyes, Ramachandra, Sampreksha Babhashe Janakatmajam. So he spoke to Sita Devi. Pradehi, please give. Shubhage, oh, of auspicious limbs. Haram yasya tushtasi bhamini. Of to whom you are the most pleased, please give that necklace. Atha sa Vayuputrayatam haram asitekshana. So, Vayuputraya, she gave it to Hanuman. Asitekshana, the one with big black eyeballs, so big that you can't see the white in her eye. Such big eyes she has. And who is Hanuman? Tejo, Dhrutir, Yasha, Daksham, Samarthyam, Vinaya, Nayaha. All of these qualities are in Hanuman. Paurusham, Vikramo, Buddhir, Yasya, Asmin, Etani, Nityada. All of these qualities are in Hanuman always. Here's a list of qualities. This is what Sita Devi is appreciating in Hanuman. Dhriti, energy or firmness, fame, dexterity, competence, modesty, prudence, virility, prowess, and intelligence. It's not once in a while, always Nityada. Hanuman never is diminished in any of these ever. Now, Hanuman has received something in the middle of the entire crowd of Vanaras. His own superior, Sugriva, is there. Vibhishana is a king. Bharata is there. Shatrughna is there. Lakshmana is there. And yet, that necklace was given to Hanuman. Now, Hanuman's chest could have swollen in pride. No. Hanuman, when that necklace was on Hanuman's neck, Hanuman's tena harena shushubhe vanararshabha started to glow like anything. And how? Chandram Shuchayagrayarena. Chandramshu, like the rays of the moons. Chandram Shuchaya Gaurena, the golden effulgence of that necklace covered Hanuman. Shweta Brena, as if he was wearing a whitish cloth. Yatha Achalaha. Yatha Achalaha. The moon, as if a mountain was bathed in the beautiful white rays of the moon, because he himself is a mountain. Then every other Vanara was honored with clothes and ornaments exactly according to who they are and what service they have offered. Vibhishana, Sugriva, Hanuman, Jambavan, all the other leaders were again honored according to their positions and according to their service by Sri Ramachandra, and they were given all sorts of objects of desire, jewelry, this and that. One may say they all want service. Why is Ramachandra giving them all these things? Because blessings will come. That means that all sorts of spiritual and worldly gifts are given. Now all of them, after receiving their gifts, went back to their homes because of coming and being participants in Ayodhya, seeing and witnessing Ramachandra's coronation. Ramachandra gifted Dvivida, Mainda, Neela, all sorts of excellences. Now, finally, Ramachandra gave them permission to go back. So the monkeys, the Vanaras, returned to Kishkindha. Then Sugriva also entered Kishkindha after that. Vibhishana is there. Vibhishana inherited a mighty fortune of Lanka. That Vibhishana also, his own desire was, I want to see the Abhisheka of yourself in Ayodhya. Now fully satisfied, he himself getting massive amounts of gifts. Vibhishana also returned to Lanka. Now earlier we saw how much Ramachandra had gifted the Brahmanas. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that Ramachandra, because for a yajna there have to be 4 Brahmanas, and they have designations, they have titles, and they are supposed to perform certain functions of the yajna, Shrota, etc. I'm unable to recall the names right now, but they're these. You can refer to Canto 9, Chapter 10, I think. So he gave all the 4 directions of Ayodhya to each of these Brahmanas. And the other directions, everything was given away to other Brahmanas. Ramachandra had absolutely nothing left on him except his cloth, and Sita Devi was just the simple cloth and her nose ring. The word used in Bhagavatam is Mangalyam. So some people will say Mangal Sutra, and Prabhupada translates as nose ring. These are the mark of a married woman. Except that from their body also they had given up everything in charity. Now one may say even the kingdom was given away to the Brahmanas. Everything. So the Brahmanas came back with folded hands and said, Sri Ramachandra, we are completely grateful to your gifts, but the kingdom rightfully belongs to you. So please take on the rulership. And they gave back the kingdom to Sri Rama. Now then, Ramachandra needs to have a Yavaraja. That means someone who is the prince regent. Now, prince regent technically should be Bharata, because he's the next. But Sri Ramachandra went to Lakshmana, and with great joy in his heart said, Atishta dharmagya. Oh, come, sit here, Lakshmana. Maya sahemam, Maya saha imam, along with me, Gam Purvaraja Dhyushtitam Balena. Come and along with me rule this entire kingdom. Tulyam Maya Tvam Pitrubhirdhrita Yatam Yavarajye Dhuram Udvahastava. So you, along with me, bear the burden of being the king. So be the prince regent of Ayodhya. Now Lakshmana, previously when he was angry at Bharata, Ramachandra said, is it because you want the kingdom? If that's the case, you take the kingdom and I'll go to the forest with Bharata. And Lakshmana said, absolutely, I have no interest in the kingdom. Now they've come back. And even now Lakshmana will say, no. I cannot. This is not my service. My service is to be your servant. I cannot sit with you as your prince regent and rule the kingdom. No. I am only I'm only a servant, a Sesha. You are Seshi. So then Sri Ramachandra coronated Bharata as the prince regent of Ayodhya. And at that time, since from that time, Ramachandra performed many Paundarika, Ashwamedha, Vajpaya sacrifices of all varieties of description, because that's what a king is supposed to do. He enjoyed being the ruler of Ayodhya for 11,000 years. And during that time, performed more than 100 Ashwamedha yajnas with excellent horses. And all the priests, best of priests, performing those yajnas, and everyone amply gifted and paid for their services. Not paid as salary, but charity. Ramachandra, with Lakshmana always by his side, ruled the earth very well. And every day there was some sacrifice or the other to receive the blessings of the gods. Now he doesn't need the blessings of the god, but he is performing his dharma as a human being. And perform what it means is that he engaged in Yuga Dharma, in Treta Yuga, his fire yajnas. So he performed Yuga Dharma every day without fail. And while Sri Ramachandra ruled over the world, it says that there were no widows to lament the loss of their husbands. They all lived healthily. There were no danger from beasts, prey, snakes, or any fear of diseases. Suddenly, the world had no thieves, and there was no robbery, no theft. Uh, there was never an opportunity where someone's child passed away. Every creature felt pleased, pacified, and safe. And all of them turned towards Rama alone. Their eyes only looked at Sri Ramachandra. And it says creatures did not kill each other. One may wonder, how did tigers eat or lions eat? So long as Ramachandra ruled Ayodhya, people, they all lived to be thousands of years of age. And each was blessed with thousands of sons and remained free of any grief or disease. Because now there's an important lesson for us. Because all of them were not just sitting passively and getting the grace of Sri Rama. That is also true. But what were they doing? Ramo, Rama iti. Prajanam abhavan kathaha. Ramabhritam jagadbhut Ramo rajyam prashasayati. From morning till night, they were only talking of Rama, Rama, Rama. So they were chanting his names and they were doing his katha. So a person who engages in these Nama Sankirtan and Rama Katha, for them, their life is filled. Now, it doesn't mean reversals may not be there. Now, I'm talking context of uh, reversals may or may not be there. At least in Ayodhya, there was no such reversals. But let's say, in the current context, in one's life, one may see reversals, difficulties. But it does not stop a person from Rama, 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 and Prajanam Abhavan Katha and discussing Katha, because in that Katha and chanting of the names, one, although going through difficulty, doesn't experience that kind of difficulty. The body may be in pain for sure. The mind may be in agony, sure. But there is always some solace, there's a shelter, there's something to lean on. Therefore, Valmiki is telling us, Rama Bhutam Jagat Bhut. The whole world had transformed into Sri Rama. That means they could, in any place, any corner, any place, feel and experience the presence of Sri Rama, although they may be living far away. Trees in Ayodhya remained firmly rooted and were always bearing fruits perpetually. Clouds sent down rain exactly on time, and the breeze and wind blew pleasingly everywhere. The Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, they all remained engaged in their duties. There were never clashes between them or among them. So long as Ramachandra ruled the earth, everybody remained devoted and pious. They never spoke lies. Everybody was endowed and marked with auspicious bodily marks, and they were all showing symptoms of being very dharmic. So, with his three younger brothers, the glorious Sri Ramachandra ruled for 11,000 years. Dasha Varsha Sahasrani, Dasha Varsha Shatani Cha, Dasha Varsha Sahasrani, 10,000 years. Dasha Varsha Shatani, 10,100 years. That makes it 11,000. 11,000 Cha. Bhratrubihi Sahitaha, along with his brothers, Shriman Ramo Rajyam Akarayat. He ruled the kingdom. That brings us to verse number 106. I went a little over time, but that's Sri Rama Pattabhishekam. I wish I had a more visual, my own realization to paint the picture, but I hope some justice was done. I hope Sri Ramachandra is pleased and the wonderful audience Vaishnavas are pleased. Any comments? We have time for one or two and then we'll pause. Hopefully next week, no, not next week, the week after, because next week we won't meet, but the week after, we will have more time for reflections and this and that because we would have completed Yuddha Kanda by the grace of Guru Gauranga Shri Sita Rama Lakshman Hanuman. Okay, let's see if you have one or two quick reflections. Okay, seems like nothing. Anyone? Pawan Sarovar Prabhu, is your hand up? Please go ahead, speak.
Thanks. Very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for taking us to really that arena of Ramchandra. Very, very thankful for being part of audience. Prabhu, while you were initially discussed that Ramchandra, he didn't have a personal instruction from king to go to forest. Practically with the intention, when Sumitra went with the instruction of the Sratha, you get him back. That's what we had done. No, it took me to position where Parikshit Maharaj, he is dealing with Mother Earth and Mother, the Dharma personified. Good. Where he is looking for practical witness from them to punish Kali.
Right.
There he is looking for personal witness. Here he is not having instruction. The mood is maybe similar. How to relate the mood of both personalities? One is Bhagwan, one is Bhakta. Can you help me understand the mood of both the personalities?
I mean, to me, the distinction is in Parikshit Maharaj's case, he asks the bull before conferring a punishment. Here, Ramachandra cannot confer punishment. It is his mother and father. And his mother says, "These are the promises your father has given me." And the king sitting there is cursing himself for having said something to his wife and now saying, "No, I don't have to fulfill that promise. That's okay." But the promise is still given. He is aware of it. So the two situations are not the same. Very different situations. Where Kaikeyi is saying, "This is what your father agreed to." And he's right there. He didn't say, "No, I did not agree." He just says, "Don't follow it." Now, how can Ramachandra not follow? There's a beautiful verse, twice or thrice the verse comes in Ramayana, has some variance in it. But when Hanuman is speaking to Sita Devi, he says, "Rakshita swasya dharmasya." Ramachandra will always protect and follow his dharma. Swajanasya cha parirakshita. If others make a vow, he will make sure that they will fulfill that too. Rakshita sarvalokasya. He can make sure that the whole world will follow their dharma. He has that power. Because I say I can only control myself. I cannot control someone else. I cannot influence someone else. But Ramachandra can influence everybody to follow their dharma. So he followed it. He followed it as an obedient son. He followed it as the prince regent because the situations are different. There, Parikshit Maharaj is the king and Kali is some Shudra dressed like a ruler. It's different, very different situations.
It helps me to understand that Lord Ramchandra, he gave always preference to following dharma than the intent of King Dasharatha. The intent of King Dasharatha was to come back, but
No, that intent of Dasharatha was out of weakness of attachment for Rama. If Rama followed Dasharatha and said, the king said, don't do it, forever in history, Dasharatha would go down as one of those black swans in the list of glowing kings in Ikshvaku dynasty. He would never allow his father's name to be tainted like that. It would be recorded in history. We would all be talking. Dasharatha was a great king of the father of Rama, who spoke something and did not fulfill it. He lied. He did not fulfill his vow. No, Ramachandra will never allow such a thing to come upon Dasharath Maharaj. That's one. Second, internal intent may be something else. That he has to go to the forest to Paritranaya Sadhunam. They're all waiting. Forget that for a moment. We're just talking of the circumstances of it. And once he determined, then Satya Sankalpa, you cannot move him from that Sankalpa. Right?
thank
So
you so
it's
much.
not just dharma, it is very important that it is the gratitude for his father, that his father's name should never be tainted. So it means I have to, I have that Ramachandra saying, okay, so I have to live in the forest. So what's the problem? But I'll bear to make sure that my father's name is etched in gold, equal to all the kings in the Ikshvaku dynasty. That's what he's maintaining.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you,
so much.
Pavan Sir, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please
Parama
accept
Karuna, Prabhu.
Harish Prabhupada of your services. Prabhu, last week question. Is it same serving Paduka as physically serving spiritual master? Or the mood is the same?
Okay. In form, yes. But without realization, no. Vedanta Deshika feels and experiences a gush, a rush of realizations of how the Padukas are sentient beings for him. If one has such a realization, then yes, because the Padukas nourished Bharata for 14 years, nourished Ayodhya. That is his realization. If one has that realization, yes, otherwise, one may not fully, just it then becomes a ritual. And not that the ritual is not important, very much important. But what about instructions? Can one gain instructions? So Vani is very important. And so until one has that realization that through the Padukas, the Vani of the Guru is manifesting in one's heart, it is a little far-fetched, stretched. So service is important. So bowing down to the Padukas of the Guru, specifically your question is important. Not just an important, I guess, a ritual or form of it, but the substance is we hear the instruction of the spiritual master. When he's present in front of us, or we are present in his presence, we are there in his presence, or he may be somewhere else that we can't access him, either traveling somewhere else or not in this world, we access the sound.
Yes. Thank you so much. Just please correct me. Serving Paduka is not a ritual, right? And we cannot serve Paduka if we're not hearing properly.
So I
We're
didn't say
just hearing.
ritual, therefore I said form. The form and substance both go together. I may say I'm not this body, so why should I bow down anyway? I'm not this body. No, but the body also, there is form and substance. Namaha. When I say Namaha, it is through body, mind, and words.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That's all. So not ritual means the act of it, not that it is just a ritual. The act is important, the mind is important, the words are important. All three should align. Many times the body expresses something that the mind may not. I don't feel like, but I bow down anyway. That's just the body is doing it. I may say something, but I don't necessarily act it out. I may say to somebody, "Oh, you're so worshipful, you're amazing. Please accept my obeisances." But I may not do it. Only the words are by themselves. The mind may not feel like that at all, not even the body. But when all three are aligned, therefore we say, Rupa Goswami told us, right? Iha yasya, in this world, Nikhila, all the time, Manasa Vacha Gira, all three aligned. So that's a person is considered liberated. Iha yasya harer dasya. You remember that verse?
Mana
Manasa
Manasa.
Vacha Acha, Nikhila api avastashu, Jivan Muktaha Sa Uchyate. All three should align. The whole practice is to get the three aligned. It's not easy. Okay. Okay, Sharat
Thank you.
Prabhu, go ahead. You had something to say?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a tremendous
Hare Krishna.
lecture. Learned a lot and truly made me tear up in joy in listening to your description. A question for you is, you kind of spoke to this, but maybe to complete the verses, you didn't dwell too long on this. But I was curious for your thoughts about why Rama picked Lakshmana as his heir apparent and how it was passed on to Bharata, which probably feels right on Lakshmana's part. I was just curious how that decision making came about.
In the Ayodhya Kanda, when Sri Ramachandra, they were preparing for him to be the Prince Regent, at that time Ramachandra tells Lakshmana, Maya Sardham, along with me. Maya Sa Ardham, half means you rule side by side with me. Although Lakshmana at that time is also not interested. But a word is a word, and there is a certain affection between the two. There's a certain affection between the two. Since their childhood, Rama Lakshmana, Bharata Shatrugna. So naturally he invited Lakshmana, naturally in the sense his heart said, come, be the king with me. But it also shows Lakshmana's greatness. So when in these things, whenever there's a confusion or not, we don't have enough clarity, we always rely on the Lord wants to show the greatness of his devotees. So he asked Lakshmana. And Lakshmana could have said yes, and Rama would have been very happy anyway. He said, no. Always servant. When I look at you, I feel like I'm your servant. And I am your servant. And that's my rightful place, is to serve you. So Bharata then gets that position. Now one may say Bharata also doesn't want. Yes, Bharata doesn't wants to bear the kingdom, but that's what he has to do. Okay. All right, we'll stop here.
Amazing.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.